Hello, hello, hello. You're watching Cooler Talk with Rhonda and Cynthia. And today we are going to talk about what you get is what you think, or the longer version, which was my original wordy version, which is what is your life situation saying about your thoughts? So I thought that would be something that we could talk about today. How are you doing, Rhonda?
I'm very well, thank you. Good to see
Good.
you. And I'm looking
Good.
forward to this topic today. What you get is what you think.
Yes, yes. This is definitely a topic that is close to my heart because it is all about the law of attraction. And I become like more of a believer every day because I can tell exactly what I'm thinking by what I'm experiencing in my day. And sometimes I get lovely reminders that I need to clean up what's happening up here. And sometimes they're not so lovely reminders that I need to clean up what's happening up here. So I don't know how you feel about that, Rhonda, but I certainly feel that
Well,
way.
well, for the longest time, I couldn't understand why there was just nothing but chaos around me and all this negativity.
Mm.
And I came to learn that I was very negative. I used to complain a lot and whine. And it seemed like the more I did that, the more of it I saw around me. So I've come to
Yeah.
learn that energetically, I was actually attracting it.
Yes. Yes. I
So
love how I love how you teed that up because um, I'm definitely more aware of it, but I'm more aware of it on both sides. Like now, I do make a concerted effort to, to not react when I have, say, a moment's confrontation, and to really kind of think like, oh, what is this saying about the way that I'm thinking? Like this, when the student is ready, the teacher appears, right? And so like that teacher is appearing to tell me, let's look at what's happening in here again. And by the same token, when we have really beautiful weather like we've been having for the past 2 weeks, I make it a point to pause and thank the universe for blessing us with this wonderful, wonderful weather.
well, I'm really
So,
glad to hear you're having that weather. We're the opposite here. There there are hundreds of wildfires in Canada right now,
wow.
and we in Pennsylvania, New York State, all the way down to New York City along the East Coast. There you can't see the sky, you can barely see the sun. It's red,
Oh,
and
smoke.
the air quality looks like dirty water. Yeah, I was out and
Wow.
about, yeah, yesterday, and there were actually people must have had breathing problems wearing masks and keeping completely covered up out in this. I could feel it. I wanted to work yesterday, so I did. But I'm going to tell you, it took every ounce of energy I had to do what I
Yeah.
needed to do. Yeah, and Cece said, "Yeah, Cece, I'm understanding what you experience in Central California now because." These gray skies. And you can, I was driving home Friday night and I'm like, what is with the air quality? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the, the, the air quality control kicked on in my car to filter the air inside. And
Mm-hmm.
then I started reading about all those wildfires. And now I'm questioning why are there so how could this be possible to have hundreds of wildfires? That's just insane.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a another conversation.
That is a whole other
But
conversation.
if you believe in
Yes.
Revelations, a lot of this stuff that's happening right now is described in Revelations in the Bible. So I won't go any further there because I'm definitely not an expert on that topic. Um, but it does, it's not reason to panic because it's really all a good thing. Um,
Well, I am really not an expert on anything religion
right.
and Bible, etc. But going back to, and I wouldn't say I'm an expert at the law of attraction, but I'm definitely an aficionado. And I would say that there's something to be said about collective consciousness. And I do think that there's a lot of decluttering of the mind happening right now on a collective level.
Hmm.
There's a lot of increasing awareness of just our our thoughts, on an individual level, but on a collective level as well, that like we are sort of like decluttering. I am meeting more and more people who are, who are really taking that step towards saying, there has to be a silver lining. Like this level of consistent chaos day in and day out is not possible. Like what can I
Well,
do to slow down? How can I stop, looking at every social media post and reacting instantly? And it's like, yeah, you know what? You don't have to. You can actually ignore, your LinkedIn for a day and the world isn't going to, explode. But yeah, I think all of this upheaval and shift in the way that we're thinking, we're kind of like stepping out of that hypnosis or, the sleepwalking that we've been doing, living by default. So,
yeah. Um, yeah. Well, in the history of the world, these things are cyclical.
mm,
So I have been reading a lot about that. How much of that do we attract? What we get is what we think. Well, when you think about maybe the last, I don't know, couple few decades, all the hatred and violence in the world
mm.
that has been out there and has escalated. I mean, that's not positivity, that's destruction.
Yeah,
And
and
if you
and
think about it with the law of attraction, that's the kind of energy that's being put out there. But the good news is there's more people that have the peace, love, and harmony mindset, and they're stepping up their game
as
to
well.
as well. And I think they're more powerful. So time will tell. It's all about what you focus on. So if you want to focus on death, tragedy, hatred, violence, discrimination, separation, and then one day you wake up wondering why all of that's in your life, well, that's where your focus is.
Right. And I
And
think one of the things that we can kind of say about it is that I think, though, humanity is sort of going through, let's say, the growing pains of that shift. I think that for many centuries, there was power held by the few, and the joys of life could really only be enjoyed by those few. And that worked for them, and they just swept all of like the ugliness and the way that they were treating other people under the rug. And I think now, as a collective humanity, we're clean. We're taking out the trash,
well, we're
and
tired of
that
we're tired of it. We're
and it's
tired
gonna
of it.
smell. It's gonna smell
Yeah. Well, it
from
does not
the
here. It smells
kitchen.
like smoke.
Right. So from the kitchen to outside, it's gonna smell like smoke, it's gonna smell like trash. Like you're going to feel the residue of like getting that the bad juju out.
Yeah.
like even when I'm sick for a couple of days and I have the flu, and on the first day where I think like, I think I can like get back into life again. Like that first day that I'm back, I want to make sure that like I change the sheets, I like open the windows, even if it's raining outside, just to like air out the juju, throw away all those Kleenexes and, put your medicine back in the cabinet, the whole everything. So it's not a pretty process. I think that's maybe my realization that shifting from living in default, reacting to, the way the world is presenting itself to you versus having agency over your perception of the world that you live in. Um, I do think that there is a bit of a getting used to a different way of approaching life.
Hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see you posted like a lot of stuff on the law of attraction. Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you.
And I didn't get quite all of it.
And Cece says, I strongly feel the mental decluttering. I'm
Mm.
feeling it, and I think after a while of decluttering mentally, and I'm going through another cycle of my mental declutter. I think usually after I've had one sort of cycle of mental decluttering, I want to go through another cycle of physical decluttering, so that I can really look at the clutter around my desk, and I can kind of parse out like, oh, I don't need this, and I don't need this, and why do I still have this, and go to my wardrobe and go through another round of decluttering. Just to really like remove some of those, I don't know, old thoughts
Mhm.
that have played themselves out and that do not have a place in your space anymore.
Right.
And like I think you were decluttering your wardrobe a few months ago, right?
Yeah, it's an ongoing process. And
Mm-hmm.
now when I see something, I ask myself, when's the last time I wore this? And I have a bag in my bedroom that I just take it off the hanger and put it in the bag. And then as the bags get filled, then I take them over for donation.
Right, to Goodwill or something.
Yeah, and I've
Because
been selling things online too. I'll try to sell them first just to generate a little income, extra cash,
sure.
get my money back for my purchases, if you will. But it's made a difference. I can feel it physically. It's kind of a weird. Actually, I was kind of surprised at actually feeling lighter somehow,
Mm-hmm.
like there was
Mm-hmm.
less holding me back, if you will.
Yeah, about a month ago, I went through a wardrobe declutter, and and actually, I just pulled a lot of things that I haven't worn since before COVID. And when I
Right.
was looking at those items, I realized, like, you know, I'm a different person now. Like,
Mhm.
even if it fits, and even if I still kind of like the style, like I don't have a lifestyle that accommodates this skirt or this blouse. So why is it still here? And I was very happy to pack it up and let it go. And in fact, I was so happy to pack up, just a few of the things out of my dresser and my wardrobe, that I went up to the attic. And then I found like so many things that aren't in my, day to day visual space. It was in the attic. But I felt so good getting rid of, a lot of Paul's blazers that he literally has not worn since he's moved here. I think about 10 of them. And he was like, yeah, I don't want them. We still have this, he even said. And it's like, yeah, and it feels good. that it's gone, even though it never was in our way, it wasn't in our space, but just it still held energy. It still occupied that space, and now we could kind of clear it up. Oh, Miss Cece has to go. Thank you so much for joining
Oh,
us.
Cynthia, it was so good to see you. And make the I taste the breakfast.
Hmm.
I'm sure
Oh
it'll be
gosh,
fabulous.
I would love to have pancakes. Wouldn't it be nice to
Wouldn't
have
it be nice?
pancakes with a pat of butter, a couple strips of bacon? Pancakes aren't easy to come by here. Good
Really?
pancakes aren't easy to come by here. Yeah. There are a couple of restaurants or bakeries that try to make pancakes, but yeah.
You can. I'm getting ready to experiment with an almond flour pancake.
All right, tell me how that goes. But I want like the real deal, not so healthy pancake first.
Wow, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, I've been reading things that Europe is much more proactive about making sure its peoples only have healthy foods available to them. I've been
They
reading
are.
that.
They
Like
are.
I was reading this article recently about all the damaging, harmful chemicals that are in almost everything we in the United States consume. And my
Mm.
question is, why have we allowed that to happen?
This is. I think this is part of the great
Mm,
global declutter. I think now we're finally hearing about the things that have been foisted on us.
yeah,
Um, that
agreed.
that. So to say that we were even complicit, I think we really had no idea.
Well,
And so
the bad people feel that that doesn't matter.
yeah,
If you don't object, then you're complicit.
exactly,
So there, and
exactly,
like the law, there is no excuse for ignorance of the law, as they say.
right,
So if we're ignorant, it's our own fault for not educating and informing ourselves.
correct.
Hate to say it, but we
However,
can't blame it on anybody because we've been sold a bill of goods, and but people are waking up to all this deception that the powers you talked about earlier have been slyly manipulating us into believing. It's very,
absolutely.
very, very subtle. I still remember I don't know if it was junior high school, remember watching something about this is before information was being suppressed, but even the music in grocery stores, and they were talking about that way back then about the subliminal messages that that get people to buy things.
Mm,
And that's you go into a grocery store. That's why they move things around. It's all part
mm,
of marketing. I'm
yeah,
not sure I'm a fan of marketing anymore because, in its raw form, it's nothing but manipulation, manipulating people into buying something, buying an
right.
idea, buying a product. Um,
But
oh,
by the
oh,
same token, and actually, I really like that we're taking this direction in the conversation. We do have agency. And when you realize that what you think is what you get, or inversely, what you see in the world is actually a response of your thoughts. It
yeah,
is the manifestation of your thoughts. Then
yes,
you
it is.
realize, oh, I actually have influence over this. I just need to like change the way I think first. and then,
Mhm.
thrust myself out into the world. And in fact, things have gotten so crazy, at least in my workplace, but also in my life place, that I am not only, I mean, you all know that I love to meditate in the morning, but now after I meditate, um, and before I get started with my work day, and even before I come back home on my train ride home, I actually write down my positive expectations for the day. So I really prepare I usually say, oh, I'm going to have this meeting and I really look forward to having this successful outcome, whatever it is, being acknowledged for the hard work that I put in for this, or, getting a win out of this for the team, whatever it is, just really just saying like, what is the best thing that could happen from this meeting? What is the best thing that could happen from that conversation? And just write it out and think it out and live it in your mind first. And the change has been almost immediate in my
Mhm.
interactions with people, in people's interactions with me. Um, people compliment. Like the other day, I wore something, and actually, when I left the house, I was kind of like, maybe this is a skirt that I'm going to give away. I think this might be the last time I wear this skirt. It still might be the last time I wore the skirt. But I got compliments all day on my outfits. And I think it was really just because I had, changed my, I don't know, the way that I entered my life in that segment,
Mhm.
you know. So I guess it's just to say we have so much more influence, than we've been made to believe that we do, and that we should really work it. What do you have to lose?
Well, you can certainly say you tried. Doesn't matter if you failed or not, you tried.
You tried, and what do you have to lose for trying?
Mhm.
You know, you spent a few minutes saying things to yourself in the car. I can't wait to get on this call with this boss that I've never met before. I really look forward to him recognizing that I've worked hard on that presentation. You know, who knows? Like, what do you have to lose? Some air, some alone time that you filled with your thoughts. There really is no risk. You've got some quotes going.
And as we were talking about a minute ago, Winston Churchill once said every man should ask himself each day whether he is not too readily accepting negative solutions. And that carries on to the other quote from Gandhi. Um, we often become what we believe ourselves to be. If I believe I cannot do something, it makes me incapable of doing it. When I believe I can, I acquire the ability to do it, even if I didn't have it in the beginning.
Pretty much. How
Yeah.
many times have you held yourself back from trying something just because you've
You
told
thought you
yourself
couldn't.
that?
Why bother if you've already told yourself you can't do it? So why bother trying? But that's kind of lying to yourself because how do you know if you haven't tried?
Right,
You don't know.
right.
Yeah.
You know, all that to say that, like, just try. Just, your day, your life could be so much better
Gee, I
just by
wonder if
changing the
we
way
I
that you
wonder if
think.
we would have electricity today if somebody didn't try, and try again.
Gosh, Well, maybe by today, somebody else might have tried again. But yeah, yeah. Anyway,
There you have it.
so
What
I've
you
been on
did
a
is
toot.
go ahead, please.
No, I was just saying I've been on this toot about just you know living your life on your terms, the way you think it should be for yourself. Be good to yourself. Be better to yourself, and be gentle with yourself too. Don't come down hard on yourself when something doesn't work on the very first go round. You know, and again, like, what do you have to lose by changing the way that you think?
Agreed. And we all love Napoleon Hill. You're the master of your own destiny. You think about the Holocaust survivors.
Mm-hmm.
They survived because, well, there are a lot of stories out there, but you're the master of your own destiny. You can influence, direct, and control your own environment. And for me, that means internally,
Yeah.
inside here.
Oh, yeah.
And
That's the
make your
environment.
life what you want it to be. And you can, if you're willing to take the steps you need to take to get there. It's just not going
Yeah.
to happen by sitting back and expecting things to happen. You have to take action, positive, productive action.
And thank you for that clarity on your environment being the environment within,
Right.
because that is the environment. And in fact, given that once you've got this in order,
Mhm.
then you'll start to see that, like, things will start to fall into
Yeah.
place around you as
Yeah.
well, for
Yeah.
sure.
Now, have you ever noticed when you're in a state of peace, love, and harmony, how everything around you seems to be that way?
Oh, yes.
It just, again, and yeah, it's internal. And we're
It's
at the top
internal.
of the hour, so um, I guess we'll end on that. You are the master of your destiny. You can influence, direct, and control your own environment. You can make your life what you want it to be. And that's a quote from Napoleon Hill, and the man speaks from experience. And it's an inside job, folks. It's an
It
inside
is.
job. I can't
What you
emphasize
get
that
is
enough.
what you think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, with that said, have a wonderful day, and
See you
may
next
your
week.
clear skies continue. And I can only imagine how beautiful it is in Switzerland right now.
Oh my gosh, it's perfection.